What podcast is it?
What do you think?
The one that's not going to go up
20? Why is it not going up?
because we're banned on YouTube for a week.
What do we do? What happened?
Medical disinformation, podcast 19. I don't even know what we did. They don't tell us.
Podcast 19, medical disinformation?
I feel
Did
like
we talk about
I
medical
feel
stuff?
like I have medical disinformation according to them in every one of them.
Did we talk about
I haven't had a strike in a long time though.
I don't remember talking about any medical.
Can
in
you
all of 19?
Probably because I said the thing or
can you forward that to me so I can watch it?
Yeah.
it's live. I mean, it's only live for members.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
where
can
to find-
still forward it to you.
How would you forward
Because
it?
it's unlisted as long as he has the
Got it.
actual link, he can watch it.
As long as I have the actual link. Oh, okay. Yeah, just forward it to me. I'll watch it and see. I don't remember us talking about medical stuff, but then, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares?
I'm
Whatever.
not concerned with it.
Is it the first? Is it the first strike? Is that the first?
Well,
time?
you're allowed to have multiple strikes. It's every quarter or something. Every 90 days they fall off.
Yeah,
I have
it's
had
every
a strike before.
That means one of your listeners timed you out.
Probably not.
Maybe.
Probably not. We were just talking about how. Actually, maybe that was in 19. You were talking about how they manipulate what people like. You can't say things that you really want to say, right? Because you're beholden to that money from YouTube.
Right. Correct.
And Austin cut one of those and put it up as a short. On
No, that
TikTok and
might that
Instagram.
actually might be it
Maybe that's what did.
because they're manipulating the data and information.
What number are we?
Number 20.
Pulling the Thread podcast, episode 20 on the heels of 19. You'll be seeing this a little bit later than normal, a week or so late, as we are banned on YouTube currently for episode 19. We're not sure what was said in there or what triggered them, but triggered their scanner flag thing, whatever it is. But you'll be seeing this shortly. So a lot of things have happened this last week. Did you see the militant trans stuff going on? Are you aware there was a mass shooting, a school shooting?
It wasn't a mass shooting, but yes, I'm aware that there was a school shooting.
Killed 3 employees and 3 children.
Yes,
Which
is not a mass shooting, by the way.
She has a innie, right? Yes.
No, Audi.
Nope. She is a she who
was trying to be
decided
a-
she is a he. Had some legal firearms. There was a pistol with a brace or something there. There was a handgun.
Yeah, but
a shotgun.
You know what she used?
What?
Keltec.
There was also a Keltec.
The Keltec is what she used.
It was?
Yeah, it was the Keltec. It was not the.
So they
the
found
AR she
more,
never used.
more guns at her place, legally owned, legally procured, but should have been prohibited because of psychological evaluation and drugs, medication she was taking.
Let's be clear.
Yes,
If you have gender dysphoria,
you're allowed to.
If you have gender dysphoria, you have a mental illness.
Correct.
You have a mental illness
Have
if
you
you have
watched-
gender dysphoria.
Did you watch that Brandon Herrera video I sent you?
No, I did not.
Have you watched any of the footage?
No. Oh, from this.
Yeah, this last shootout.
Yeah, I wa-
It's not a shootout, but
Yeah.
so they have come out. She actually had plans to hit a few other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Another school. She actually had attended this school. I've heard people say that she was angry that she had to attend this school or that her parents had sent her to this particular school.
Well, it was just school. It's not the link to the school. That particular link to the school is not a legit link. I mean, meaning she cased out another school
Also
before
a Christian school.
Yeah, she cased out another school before going to this school, but the security was too tight.
I see what you're saying.
She couldn't get in, so
she settled for this.
She
one.
settled for this. I mean, I don't want to say settled because it is tragic, but
fucking police handled shit. God, they came out fucking quick with the video footage.
the reality is, yeah, that's kind of interesting, but I think it's
Hey, look at us. This is how you should fucking do it.
I think this is how you should handle it.
I agree.
Right? I think that's why they did what they did, is being like.
And so they said, it is said that she had some text messages with her best friend 6 hours prior. Best friend actually called the police over 4 hours prior, and nothing had happened. They didn't take it seriously or didn't invest. And who knows? Maybe they did, just couldn't find her because in the text message she didn't say what it was that she was going to do. Media is kind of losing their fucking minds over this shit. All mass media is making her out to be the victim, and making it as though it's Jeremy Boring and all those guys over in Nashville. They're literally saying that you guys have bullied and got this law passed, and like it's fucking pretty insane. Even Fox is having that spin on this thing.
Well, she has a mental disorder, so
yes,
that's the one. That's the one. When you think about all these school shootings period and everything, it's a what are we doing with as a country with our individuals who have mental disorders? We're not doing anything. We're letting them do whatever they want to do. They want to roam around. And I mean, the reality is the way we treat people with mental disorders, it's amazing that it doesn't happen more.
It seems like there's an uptick, perhaps.
I bet not. I bet it's not an uptick in the sense of we show it more. It's the tagline, right? It's the thing that you want. Every time it happens, it has to be the number one news. I mean, I looked on my phone this morning. It's already dead on my phone. Like
it's just not in the feed.
It's not even in the feed.
So there's a manifesto. Well, they call it a manifesto. It's not actually a manifesto like Unabomber had, but
right.
There's some ramblings, and I'm sure some notes on this that she had been keeping. And PD said, yes, we do have it. Yes, this was trans activism and targeted specifically Christian school kids. And it was said that
you can't call it activism if you're killing people.
Okay. But so they are spinning oil.
Yeah, I know.
Their side is that you have banned children from being medically modified in Tennessee. And this was supposed to be a national trans day of violence, and apparently there was 3 other instances like this in the United States, and then I never did hear those 3, but they did list 3 prior. It was nightclub Colorado,
right.
Shit like that, and that was it was the same type of deal. But yeah, they ran in there and fucking killed that bitch really fast, as soon as they started, because they were clearing room to room closet. Now, I found it interesting, too, that each of the rooms they went in, each individual classroom had a bathroom in it. Like, every one that they entered prior to hearing gunshots, as soon as they heard gunshots, they run to the gunfire, and that's when they dispatched her.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So they were supposed to come out with the manifesto. They were supposed to put out her notes and manifesto, and then they went silent, and they're like, nope, we can't do it. I almost feel like somebody higher government said, hey, you're not going to put this shit out, and if you do, we're going to pull any federal funding to Nashville. Because it squashed it really. They were really, really open, answering everything, and then all of a sudden, fucking rains in. We're not answering shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you never know. Maybe the feds came down and said you can't.
Did you see Biden on this?
When he was joking about eating ice cream?
Prior to even, he knew this had happened, and
when he's joking about ice cream. Ice cream, yeah. I mean, but again, Joe Biden is a senior citizen with dementia. If, in fact, if it was you and me that were handling Joe Biden, we would have already been charged with elder abuse. So
right. If we had allowed our parents to do what he is currently doing,
he could sit down. He could sit down and poop his pants.
He did.
Again, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I know that's what's going on because he has dementia, and he is being abused by the Democratic Party and whoever is, all the staffers that are behind him that are just propping him up to make it look like he's running the government, but he's not running the government.
Have you seen the new Patriot Act 3.0?
No, I haven't seen any of that.
You're aware they're banning TikTok?
I know that they're going after TikTok. Okay. The problem for TikTok is twofold. Okay, first off, It's a Chinese owned company, and we want to go to war with China. So this is kind of like the first poke. The other problem for TikTok is TikTok, believe it or not, is eating everybody else's ass.
Yep. They're chewing them up.
They're chewing them up. YouTube, Instagram.
Yep.
The reason why they are so hardcore about banning TikTok
the lobbyists from all
is
those.
because the lobbyists from all those people are like, hey, we bent a knee for you. Meaning, when the government knocked on Facebook's door and said, you need to silence all these people, which was, again, illegal, they bent a knee. And so they're like, hey, we bent a knee for you. We helped you get this senior citizen elected president.
You got to take out these guys.
Take out TikTok because they're stealing all our ad revenue.
So they have this whole bill that they've put forth, and let's say it's 1,000 pages have to do with TikTok, 100,000 have to do with everything else.
Of course.
So it's not just TikTok. They're doing this. That yes, this will go and make TikTok go away, but it gives them direct access to fucking almost every keystroke that you make. Not that they don't have it already, but they're just admitting that they fucking have it. They can shut you down for disinformation. They can shut you down for fucking saying shit that's there's like dissent in there, all kinds of
it's all
same shit Russia does, same shit China does.
It's everything against the First Amendment.
Yeah, I guess in Ukraine, I guess they've got this whole dissent act and shit, and they're snatching people up for saying anything against the war. It's pretty wild, man. All of the big gun right YouTube guys have all made videos about this, as has Tim Pool, Valuetainment, all the big news guys. I think Epoch Times just came out with something on it, and I tend to think if Epoch Times does something on it, there's really something there. Those guys, pretty scary shit.
I mean, is it?
Yeah, is it? I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know. I just think that it is encroaching closer and closer and closer. They're not going after real terrorists. They're going after people that we would consider ourselves to kind of be that kind of person,
The scary thing should be for, when you, like right now, all the liberals and all the lefties are cheering and, excited for whatever these guys, you're not going to be in power forever. And eventually.
Oh, I think they're very close out of power. You're talking about the lefties?
Yeah. Eventually those rules are going to be used against you. When we talk about First Amendment rights, when I say First Amendment, I mean you have the right to go out in your LGBTQ community and say whatever the fuck you want. I believe that you should have that right. Yep. If you are a goddamn skinhead and you want to run around and spout your stupid bullshit. You have that right. That's the only way any of this works, is if we are able to have a discourse and we can talk about it. Like, to silence somebody because you don't like what they have to say, it only will come around and bite you in the ass later.
I think you're posed for another, like Nazi Germany type deal. You have fucking wronged so many people that they're going to accept somebody that is more radical, and that radical group is going to come together and do terrible shit to those people that fucking made their lives miserable for the last 3 or 4 years.
That's kind of
what happened in Germany.
That's kind of the problem with the political system that Obama had left us, is he made everything polarizing. So everything we do has to be polar. We've created this divide in politics and in society where no one can get along anymore. And that's Obama's legacy. Trump did the same thing. Biden is doing the same thing. So, I mean, we're focusing on things that don't matter, when the reality is, by 2030, we will no longer be the superpower in the world.
Who do you think will be?
China.
Think so?
Yeah.
Because we're allowing it.
Well, it's not that we're allowing it. We're not allowing it. Okay, if you look at the people that are really smart in the CIA and places like that, they understand that this is coming. They understand that if we continue down the path that we are going, that China will surpass us. Now, we're not allowing it in the sense of, hey, let's just let China take over. Where it's happening because of the incompetence that we have in senior level positions in the United States. You know, you take a look at Joe Biden's administration.
Do you not feel that is manipulated and actually, if not completely installed by China?
No, it's what happens when you continue to allow incompetence to be in charge. So there's there are people in the government that are very smart and understand that this is coming. And that is probably why you have the Defense Department coming out and saying we're going. Did Joe Biden say we're going to war with China in 2023?
25. There, it's on paper. DOD has come out and said.
But I'm saying, did Joe Biden say that? No. Joe Biden and his administration is not. They're doing everything they can to not piss off China. But the Defense Department is like, we are not going to be second-class citizens in this world. We're going to fucking go to war. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that will change the dynamic for China taking over. Is if we actually go to war with China, that will be winner take all.
What does war with China for the United States look like?
It looks rough. It's going to be rough.
Where does it take place?
It takes place in the South China Sea.
Not in the United States.
Not in the United States. No, we'll be very proxied. So. We'll be using the Philippines Philippines will probably be one of the main places that we stage for that. It'll be a very Navy heavy battle.
Will the Philippines sustain damage?
Maybe.
Depends. It'd be great for the Philippines.
For
their fucking economy. I mean, not if they're destroyed, but yeah. I mean for all those carrier groups.
It just depends on how bad we escalate. Like, it just depends on how bad is it. Are we in the South China Sea fighting a proxy war, meaning we're deterring China from taking over Taiwan? Or are we actually declaring war, which our weak-ass, bitch-ass representatives would never do, declaring war on China itself? It would be hard not to think that there would not be nuclear weapons exchange in that type of environment. But if it's a proxy war where we're just fighting over Taiwan, China might not use a nuke.
If you have the Russians use a nuke here soon-ish, there's no fucking way China's not going to. Nobody wants to be the first guy.
I don't think Putin's going to do it.
No,
I don't think Putin's, because China has already brokered. They're already brokering a deal with Russia and Ukraine for a peace deal. And
where's Zelensky sit with that?
He's good with it.
Yeah,
he's good with it.
I thought he came out and he's like, "Fuck that, that's never happened." And then somebody kind of got in his ear and like, "Well, don't say never."
The problem with Zelensky is he's not a statesman, so he doesn't. He's a very good because he's
already a billionaire.
Well, yeah, tenfold all the money we've given him, and he's hidden in the fucking bushes. Shit, he's got more fucking gold hidden around Ukraine than fucking Saddam Hussein had, and it's all U.S. gold. But Zelensky is an actor. I mean, he's done very good, but he is he doesn't know the statesman side of the house. Like, so for example, when he said that when he threw that thing about American sons and daughters are going to have to come over here and fight, he immediately had to reel that back in because no, we don't. No, we don't, dude. We don't. We don't. You're going to have to ramp up your military to fucking make this happen. We don't.
I think he's out of military.
No, I mean, the interesting thing about what's going on in Ukraine is we pulled a large portion of Ukrainian. So, okay, they're using. Remember when I told you that a while back that Ukraine's military didn't really exist until the Russians attacked. I can't think of the name of the place, but before the Ukrainian war, all those places that Russia annexed, the Ukrainian army was nothing. They used militias in order to stop the Russians from taking more territory. Those militias are the ones that have been taking the brunt of the fight for what's going on in Ukraine. That's why when you see a Ukraine parade where they're parading their army, the army guys all look brand new. The real Ukrainian army is in Poland, Germany. They've been there for a while, and they're training them how to fight American style or Western style versus Russian style.
Are they teaching them that, or are they teaching them more special operations, hearts, minds, recruit?
No, they're teaching them fucking, what do you call it? Maneuver warfare.
So
because it's the only thing that the Ukrainians can do. The Ukrainians can't build trenches and fill those trenches with troops and stop the Russians. They don't have enough troops. But if they teach them maneuver warfare and they can get close to a division on the ground that is mechanized, the Russians won't be able to fucking do shit. I mean, they just won't be able to do shit. They're already talking about stepping up to trying to get Russian aircraft to fly more missions, but the Russians have a serious pilot problem. Their training for their pilots is not very good. So, I mean, it's actually been a pretty big embarrassment for the Defense Department because we, for the longest time touted and spent billions of dollars on equipment because we thought that the Russians were much better than they were. And the reality is we could probably take if we're talking straight up fight, they could take a mechanized division out of fucking Germany and push the Russians right back into Russia, no problem.
Why are they not doing that?
Because then that would mean U.S. boots on the ground. And it's more important right now that we deplete Russian resources. It's more important that we deplete Russian resources with Ukraine lives than to put U.S. troops, because the reality is the Defense Department is prepping for China. We know we know that if China pops off, the majority of the fighting is going to have to come from us. The majority of the troops and weapons are going to be from us. So we have to prepare for a China fight, not a Russian fight, because...
Will we be fighting?
Oh, yeah. We will definitely
US?
be fighting. Yeah, we'll definitely be fighting.
Draft?
No draft.
Why?
Because we don't want the dissent within the country.
I think you'll have some kind of false flag. We're not supposed to say that either. We're supposed to call it fast Freddy. We're supposed to have
Fast Freddy?
Yeah. It's one of those trigger words, false flag. So I think you'll see some kind of thing happen here that will rally the troops, right? Just like 9/11. So the recruits will jump,
Here's the reality. The reality is that most people don't understand if you want an instant pot war, like if you want an instant war, if you're ready to, you're ready to invade Nicaragua. Okay.
Okay.
Just to say, if the United States wants to invade,
I think we could invade Nicaragua.
I'm just saying, if the United States wants to really invade Nicaragua, a false flag makes it quick and easy.
Okay.
Right? It makes it quick and easy. Like you have you have the Nicaraguan army shoot down a fucking jet, and now we can invade. We can invade
with a rifle.
Yeah, but with China. And because China has set a date, we have set a date. Everybody is putting these dates out there. With China, you don't need it. You don't need a false flag. All you do is you just keep picking, right? Biden did a thing. Biden did a thing a little while ago where he any scientific research or any semiconductor, workers within the continent of China. They had 30 days to get the fuck back to the United States, or we're going to lose their citizenship. And so he closed that loop, right, on China.
I feel like Trump did something similar to that.
The truth of the matter is, if you're out there and you're like, yay, Joe Biden, or yay, Donald Trump, if you really look at the policies, that go, the real meat and potatoes of policy that go from, you could go all the way to Bush, all the way through. They're almost identical. Everybody has the same policy. Everybody knows that China is a problem. The difference is, like with Donald Trump, Donald Trump was like, China is a cocaine addiction. We need to cut that off cold turkey. Where everybody else was like, well, we don't need to do it right now. Let's get as much cocaine as we possibly can, and then
I still want to be able to do that, and when there's no more. Yeah,
then we'll cut them off. So all you have to do with China is you just keep picking at them, right? You just keep picking at them. You keep picking at them. The truth of the matter is, when people talk about World War II, and they talk about Pearl Harbor being a false flag, it wasn't a false flag. We neutered the Japanese through policies that made them have to attack us. We made them have to attack us. It's kind of the same thing.
It wasn't a false flag in that we didn't do it ourselves. We knew it was coming.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We created the scenario where they had no choice. They had no choice. We're doing the same thing. With China, right? There's in the South China Sea, there's area that the Chinese claim is their property, the waterways that belong to China, waterways that belong to Taiwan.
Where China's someplace that surprised me, and they're fucking making a new island somewhere. It was very surprising where they were. What does life at home in the United States for the average person look like while everybody is abroad at war with China?
Austere. We are going to be
second world.
No, not that bad. It'll definitely be worse. It'll definitely be worse than the Afghan-Iraq years as far as
I thought
the economy.
Were pretty good at home during Iraq.
Well, that's the thing. The reality is,
Iraq and Afghanistan.
We're in a recession right now.
Yes, probably more so than a recession.
We are in a recession right now. The only reason why we are not officially in a recession is because inflated GDP numbers, and
highly inflated.
But those numbers are inflated based off of the war in Ukraine, because the government keeps giving contracts for missiles, tanks, all the things.
Shit that does not help the average U.S. citizen.
It doesn't help the average U.S. citizen, but the key there is
they get to false the numbers.
The key there is this: if I say we are actually in a recession, okay? If I come out as the president and go, "Hey, America, we're in a recession. Shit just got real." People will start acting that way. People will start acting like they're in a recession. They will stop buying, loaves of bread, milk. They will stop doing the things that they're doing every day. They'll stop buying fuel. They will start acting as if they're in a depression, which will slow the economy even more. If I keep doing what our current administration is doing and just run around and be like, "Hey there, my darling. Hello, my baby. There's no recession going on now," people will be like, "Oh, okay, I guess I should go buy some more milk or more whatever." And because we're still manufacturing millions of rounds of ammunition, that does trickle down, meaning powder companies, brass companies, and that's just, copper wire companies. All these companies are actually getting work, but it's not for the demands of Americans. It's for the demands of the military-industrial complex to keep this proxy war going on with Russia. And so because it's all trickling down like that, people still don't feel like it's not the Great Depression. Nobody's in line trying to get soup.
Think you'll see a depression before the war? You're going to see a Great Depression here in the United States, collapse of the dollar, and then the war with China is what's actually going to pull us out.
Well,
Nigeria just came out and said, hey,
if China, the reality is, again, we start going to that, what are we doing? So we're manipulating the world. We're manipulating the world for a war with China. And we're going to start attacking these financial China institutions, okay? Does China, in response to us doing that, does China kill the dollar, right? Because who owns most of the United States' debt? China. Does China call in the marker? Because the reality is China could call in the marker tomorrow. We can't afford our debt payments.
So the BRICS thing, it's like BRICS plus whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the whole fucking alphabet now. So many countries.
The problem is it's the whole alphabet, but it's the alphabets that don't matter. Okay. It's the alphabets that don't matter that are joining, and I don't want to say, again, they're trying, but the interesting thing about the American dollar is it's still recognized everywhere in the world. You can't take a fucking Chinese dong or whatever the hell they have,
correct,
to Paraguay and buy a Coke. You can't do it.
You probably couldn't take it to your bank and convert it.
You can't do it. And while all these countries are signing up, you have to remember that most of them, their economies are being propped up by the China government. And because the China government is having its own fucking problems, you can't succeed by getting all these countries that you have to also prop up and be like, hey, suddenly we're going to be the most powerful country in the world. The reality is, for China, like Russia, technically Russia kind of fucked up, because Europe, when you think about it, Europe was almost completely in Russia's pocket with the pipeline and the fuel issue, because Europe was just as dumb as Americans, and they thought, hey, we'll put up some windmills and some solar farms, and we don't need nukes, and we don't need fuel, and we don't need to do any of that anymore. Well, lo and behold, your governments were all buying all that fucking fuel from the Russians. So if the Russians would have, instead of going into Ukraine militarily, they could have leveraged that necessity for fuel against the European Union in order to create sanctions against Ukraine, in order to create an idea that Ukraine is bad, you need to do something about it. And then the European Union would have done it, because they were so tapped on the resources. But because Putin wanted to flex his might, we're at war in Ukraine. The fucking pipeline's been cut by the Americans. Now the European Union has to become stronger with America in order to continue to get the fossil fuels that we're sending them. By the way, Germany, we're sending fossil fuels to you, so you might want to think about that next time you're talking about a Green New Deal. And that's really what you want. You want the European Union in your pocket. You don't want Paraguay.
Did you see?
Because Paraguay is not going to increase your GDP.
Nigeria and some other African countries came out and released to their, and I mean, I don't know who their people are, like that they have any, but they said get rid of any holdings you have in U.S. dollars. In 2 weeks, the U.S. dollar won't be worth anything.
I mean, the reality is, how much is the Nigerian dollar
Correct,
worth?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, and who are you talking to? 1% of your population?
What ends up happening in those scenarios, right? What ends up happening in those scenarios where they're like get rid of the U.S. dollar, it's not going to be worth anything.
The guy saying it collects all the U.S. dollars?
No. Instantly, the U.S. dollar in Nigeria will probably be worth more than a dollar in the United States, because the black market is going to use it to buy all the goods, because the Nigerian dollar is worth shit.
Right.
It's not. I mean, it's what's Even if the Chinese are the ones propping up the Nigerian government and being like, hey, here's your yen or your whatever the fuck the Chinese use. It's not the black market is going to fucking soak up those dollar bills, and you're not going to be able to buy a fucking pizza with a stack of Nigerian money. But if you've got dollars, they'll sell that shit. It's just like when the Soviet Union collapsed. You could not buy anything in the Soviet Union that was real, or in Russia that was real, unless you had U.S. dollars.
Or gold.
U.S. dollars. I mean, I guess gold too, but the reality is most people aren't walking into McDonald's with a gold bar and being like, how many cheeseburgers can I get?
Well, probably not corporate stores, but
yeah.
Fairfeld talks about Argentina or Venezuela. I think he's in Venezuela, and he was there when Argentina collapsed, and they were gold necklaces, right? Guys were
clipping
off links of gold necklaces.
I mean, I would generally be worried about, like, I would be really seriously worried about China if they, for example, I'll just use Nigeria. If China went into Nigeria and said, "Hey, guess what? We're gonna back your country with gold, and all your purchases are going to be through either legal tender that is backed by gold or actual gold, and we're going to set the prices on all your products, and all your products will be sold with gold."
You think they would do that while they're making their own people use their central bank digital currency? You don't think they would just put some kind of digital currency in place?
It's hard to because
Africa is being paid. A lot of African labor is being paid. I think it was with the XRP or something. They were actually using a digital currency.
It's hard to do that in a place like Africa, because Africa, the reality is, you can still trade a goat for chickens or a cow for a wife. You know what I'm saying? You can still do that in Africa. So it's hard to say we're just going to go digital currency, because the majority of the people in Africa aren't using that kind of system anyway. So it'd be hard. But if you gold based it, it would be unbreakable. Like that would be.
That's what I thought. I thought it was said early on when we kicked Russia out of the SWIFT system. And Putin came out and said, "Okay, we're gonna back all of our ruble or whatever with gold." And yeah. I thought they did. I thought they said it was 5 as a gram or some shit.
They did a price.
They were buying gold, 220 tons of gold at a time. I don't know what that physically looks like, but
the problem for Russia is they fucked up and went to war in Ukraine. And war is expensive.
I think they did this. I think this happened after they started the war in Ukraine.
But the war is expensive. You don't want to be fucking around with your currency while you're in the middle of a war.
Do you like the Belt and Road Initiative in Africa? All through there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Could Africa have just said no, or is it just they have so little that it's in their interest to just go ahead and do that?
It's in their interest just to go ahead and do it, because the reality is. The reality is a nation state can only flex so much, meaning if they build an interstate, if the Chinese build an interstate freeway in the Congo.
Are they?
Oh yeah, they're building shit all over the place, and what they're doing is they're creating loans that they know governments can't pay back, because then it becomes Chinese infrastructure. But the truth of the matter is Africa is still wild, wild west. And for the Chinese to think that they're going to be like, oh, we built you this airport. You can't pay for it. You can't make the interest payments anymore. So we're going to take this airport over. Now, most of those third world countries will be like, okay, whatever, you can have the fucking airport.
Because the truth is, if China pulled out, that airport would it'd be a homeless camp anyways.
Yeah, you can't do anything with it anyways. What are you going to do? I mean, you can only flex so much. It's kind of like when people talk about Chinese assets in the United States. China millionaires buying property in Malibu and all over that. Again, we go to war, that doesn't mean anything. We go to war, your condo that you bought in fucking downtown Los Angeles becomes county property. Sorry.
Because we just kicked them out.
We just kick them out because we're at war. And that investment no longer...
Or put them in a camp.
That investment no longer counts. And then when the war's over, when the war's over, the Chinese will be like, hey, America, I know you kicked our ass, or we kicked your ass. Who knows? Remember all those condos you took? We're going to need payment for the condos you took. Well, the condo is still there. John Willis is living in the condo now. And then the federal government's just like, okay, we're going to pay you 50 cents on the dollar for the next 200 years. It's like, most people don't know this. The British, when we did Lend-Lease with the British for World War II, they made their last payment in 2020.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, they made their last payment in 2020. So, that's kind of how it gets worked out in the courts later. But, even you think about the Japanese Americans that got interned for World War II. They didn't get their homes back.
No, a lot of them lost. They didn't get any. They lost their lives. Even
they lost everything. They lost all their finances in their banking accounts. They didn't get none of that back.
Do you think you'll see that happen here again?
If we go to war with China, yeah, of course we'll do it. We'll confiscate all those assets, every bit of it.
What happens to the bodies, the people?
I don't think we have the stomach for internment. Now, you never know what a Democratic president's going to do because they do like interning people. But I don't think we have the stomach for it. I think if we go to war, like the reality is, if the U.S. Navy loses a carrier, if the U.S. Navy loses a carrier a carrier group in the South China Sea, I wouldn't want to be Chinese. I wouldn't want to be Asian in the United States. Like, if we lose a carrier group in the South China Sea, you don't want to be Asian in the United States.
What happens?
Well, first off, the mob is going to rule the day.
Who is the mob?
Just regular old Americans.
Just normal white folks.
Both
sides.
You say normal white folks. Most Asian violence is in this country done by Black Americans, not white Americans. Just a fact.
When 9/11 happened,
yeah,
we have some. I guess I don't know where they're from. Right, they're Middle Eastern, here in this town, and they owned a British petroleum gas station. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Hey, those aren't. I know we look like them. That's not us.
That's not us." Yeah.
And everybody, no, there was nothing, and we're in the middle of fucking nowhere out here, and where all the racists are supposed to be, but there was no. I mean. I heard them say this, right? They're like, hey, we're not with those guys. That's not us. And they were very concerned about it. But there was no ill will towards them, at least not outright to them.
Again, if the Chinese use a tactical nuclear weapon to take out a carrier group,
different animal.
You're talking about,
I thought DOD said that
$8,000.
They an acceptable loss. Mm-hmm. With war with China is actually 3. They're planning to lose 3 carriers.
When they say carriers, they're not talking about carriers.
They're talking about an entire group.
They're talking about carrier groups. So you're talking, frigates, destroyers, cruisers, submarine. You're talking about everything that supports that carrier group. The reality is they're planning on that the Chinese would have to use a tactical nuclear weapon.
And that just means it has to strike one ship, and then it envelops everything.
They just hit a point out in the South China Sea that takes all those vessels out. The question is, again, I may be making the mistake that the Defense Department made with Russia in thinking that the Chinese actually have a capability that we can't counter. Like, everybody's talking about supersonic missiles. That the Chinese have supersonic missiles and we don't have supersonic missiles yet. Every ballistic missile is a supersonic missile. We have had supersonic missiles since the fucking 60s. Now, do we have supersonic missiles that we put on a plane? I bet we do.
I think it was just came out that we're putting 10 aircraft someplace and they do have supersonic.
Yeah, I bet we do. I bet we already have supersonic missiles. But the question is, do you need a supersonic missile? What makes it any better than a regular missile? It's just the payload. That's all. It's just the payload. What is the payload? Now,
you better worry about that shit sitting on those fucking satellites.
It's just the payload. So, I feel like it's a scare tactic to get us to spend more and more money on national defense when the truth of the matter is, technology-wise, they're not even close. The Chinese are still in the 50s.
Could we fight a war with China where we win immediately?
No.
How long?
How long?
Is that because we're not willing to strike first and hard enough?
And
massively enough?
Or
is it because,
government?
Or is it because the puppets in charge have an interest in prolonging this?
Our government has an aversion to overwhelming force, meaning, when Bush went into Iraq, that was the first time in a long time that a president was like, fucking shock and awe. Blow that shit up. I don't care what you blow up, just blow it up. But for the most part, our congressional representatives and our presidents have an aversion to winning, because winning requires you to do things a little bit rougher than you would like, right? We want to pretend like we're building schools and infrastructure when the reality is you break a person till he bends his knee, and that is how you win. I mean, we could have easily won in Afghanistan. You put the First Marine Division in Afghanistan, and just say nobody comes home until it's over.
Are we going back to Afghanistan?
No, we're not going back to Afghanistan.
You don't think we will because China has some kind of interest there?
Well, China's interest is the same interest as ours. It's lithium. China's already struck the deal for the lithium with the Taliban.
Aren't we seeing a bunch of that equipment that was left showing up on abroad eBay? And
shit? They're maintaining. Excuse me. They're maintaining what they can maintain, but the truth of the matter is, most of our equipment, even the MRAPs, right? Most of our equipment it's tough to maintain. The maintenance on our equipment it's pretty high. You have to have a good infrastructure for maintaining. If you think of like an M1 Abrams, right? You have to have a good infrastructure of maintaining that M1 Abrams because it always needs maintenance. And most places don't have that. Like they're talking about 30 M1 Abrams to Ukraine. They don't have the infrastructure to maintain those vehicles. It sounds cool. You're going to get these M1 Abrams, but they don't have the infrastructure. Not like we do. Even when we do silly shit like Afghanistan and we're like, hey, you can have these Black Hawk helicopters. The infrastructure to maintain that gear never belonged to the Taliban. So there's not like a crew of Taliban helo mechanics running around fixing these these helicopters. Now they can reverse engineer, and they're not dumb people, because you got guys that can fly those helicopters, so they can reverse engineer and they can kind of tinker and they can kind of keep a couple in the air and make it work. But the reality is, to maintain that strategic footprint that we left behind outside of the small arms, right? The M4s and the 240 Gulfs that we left them, they can keep forever. But outside of that, even the MRAPs, there's going to be a point where you're just going to see a big field full of fucking MRAPs that don't have tires, that don't have fucking headlights, that don't, just like when we got to Afghanistan and all the Soviet equipment that was just lined up that they weren't using because they can't maintain it. They just can't maintain that equipment.
Does an Abrams need like a jump pack, a booster? Well, does it have a starter? Can you just get in and turn the key? I know there's no key, but
it doesn't have
because I always thought we could just steal an F-14. Right?
It doesn't have a jump pack
because you have to. You can't just start an aircraft or even helicopters, you don't get in and just like fucking start it up. It has to have a jump pack and shit on them.
The Abrams doesn't, but the Abrams again, very high maintenance. Like that's kind of one of the reasons why the Marine Corps got rid of them. Dumb decision, but it's one of the reasons why the Marine Corps got rid of them because the maintenance cycle on them is huge.
What'd they replace it with? Nothing.
No. Yeah, they're gonna fight the Chinese with sticks and arrows.
And an MRAP just starts up. Anybody can just get an MRAP, and if you can.
For the most part, yeah. For the most part, you have to remember. I mean, I'm not giving the Taliban credit,
right?
But again, it's U.S. technology, so there's a I call it the Lance Corporal learning curve that you can get in. Like if you got in an M1 Abrams, if you or I got in an M1 Abrams, we probably fuck it up. Meaning we probably would do something. There would probably be something in the procedure to start it that only a Lance Corporal knows. Like only the lowest common denominator, the person who was trained to drive that tank, and the crew obviously. But the reality is, there's probably a sequence in there where you're gonna skip a thing and get it rolling, and then the fucking the fuel is going to be pumping out of the back because you forgot to close the foot or whatever. There's going to be some step that you're not going to know. It's like the Lance Corporal. There's always like this little Lance Corporal thing, like the Unimog. Me driving the Unimog. There was like 4 things.
Tell me what they are. I don't know what they are.
So, for example, I've
been seeing a lot of Unimog. Like guys have been fucking taking those old 406s. And really, Rob's got a 406 like that.
The only. And I know it's not a real problem with me. Like I see the 406s all the time, and I've kind of, there was a couple that I'm like, oh, I should get that.
There's a nice black one. Right?
And every time I fucking get to the point where I'm like, I should get that, I'm like, oh, it's gasoline. It's gasoline.
That's the problem I had, right? It's a 2.3 liter gas motor that they use in Mercedes-Benz cars.
Yeah, it's gasoline. I don't want gasoline.
And I want the diesel because it stores longer.
I want the diesel. And it just, I mean, I'll tell you what, that 419, my Unimog, doesn't matter how cold it is. It doesn't matter how long it's been sitting. If I do the Lance Corporal, boop, 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 turn all the buttons on and do the thing right, starts up every time. Starts up every time. Like it doesn't hesitate. It doesn't do anything.
Like that John Deere tractor out there.
Like that fucking John Deere, yeah. Starts up every time. I love it. But like example, like the Schmidt, it has an excavator on the back, right? And it has a lock. So you lock the excavator, turn it, and then lower it onto the truck. Okay? Well, there's nothing that tells you how to get the excavator will only come back so far, right? It only comes back so far and then it stops. But it doesn't come back far enough to hit the lock. And so there's like this Lance Corporal thing that you have to know in order to get the lock to work. If you're looking at the truck itself, like the levers or anything like that, you're like, how do I?
You know what that tells me?
What?
It tells me that one day we'll be at your house and I'll be like, how did you get all these? Well, you remember when you told me to make this manual, like the quick cheap manual? Yeah. Ham Radio has this little, it has a thing.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
It's like folds out. It's this little fold up plastic thing that fits in your wallet with the cheat codes. And then they have like the laminated plastic so that water can't ruin it and shit. And it's just spiral bound and it's like 10 thick ass plastic pages.
It's funny you
should do that.
It's funny you said that. I just laminated 22 pages of things that I thought were important to have in the truck all the time.
Man, we could go around to different industries and aligned with our industry and just be like, hey, tell me the things that you learned that they were hard to find, right. Or they, and just build hey, these are the 100 things you need to know about your Unimog.
Yeah. And so you have to, it's kind of counterintuitive. You have the arm that pulls it back. So it pulls it back and you lower the arm. Basically you close everything up. So the bucket's up against everything. And then, when you raise it, it's coming back towards you. And as it's about to hit the apex, you push it forward, which in reality, it should just push the arm back out. But once you get to that apex point and you push it forward, it slams the whole thing back on the lock.
You look at it like, oh shit.
Every time. Because when you're sitting in that seat, it's right here. And so when you do that, it's like boom, but it stops, right?
Do you ever jump out of the seat?
The first time I did it, I did. Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
That could kill me.
That is crazy. And then the other Lance Corporal thing is if you don't do the startup sequence right, you'll never okay, so it has a keyed on switch. So on the dash there is a key that turns the power on, okay? It also has a battery disconnect. You have to have the battery disconnect on. And then it has a starter. Well, if you think normal car and you turn the battery on, then you turn the key on and you push the starter, it's going to won't like it wants to start.
No fuel supply.
No fuel supply. It has an arm down there by the foot that you pull it out to a certain distance and then it'll start.
Dude, you should do a manual.
I forget that shit all the time.
If you ever need to steal this military vehicle, here is the thing that you need to know, right? Just like
they did that
a cheat code thing.
They did that in Ukraine, which is I thought was pretty cool that they
Firefox.
They were doing cheat codes for how to steal Russian vehicles because they were finding so many of them. This is how you start them up. But yeah, there's always like a little when you have a military vehicle in general and something's not working, there's something that's not working, like it's not doing the thing you want it to do. I call it the Lance Corporal thing. That a Lance Corporal's going to come over and go, "Hey, you got to flip this switch," or "Hey, you got to do this." Right?
That's what's going to get this.
Yeah,
one.
that's what gets us
There's
banned.
our strike. Okay, beep that out.
Beep that out.
It's fucking crazy that we even have to fucking beep anything out. So we had a tornado. There's a tornado close. We had massive storms Saturday night.
I think so.
So people like, hey, what's the tornado plan? Tornado plan is go inside. So there's a ton of people like in the row house because the row house is totally dry. Like it's gonna suck you away the same, but you're gonna be dry.
Right.
Camping out there, we had, I don't know, I'll bet there's 25 campers, like substantial campsites, and then there's just random people with hammocks and shit. But there was a teepee out there, like a big teepee and a yurt, and both of those were fine. Like the storm didn't fuck them up. They stood tall. But the swale up top completely filled. When I went up there, maybe it was Friday night and then Saturday morning, whichever night we had the storm. I went up there the next morning feeding animals, and I'm like, I wonder what that swale's doing. It was completely full, had backflowed into the ridgeline pond, filled that up all the way. It's taller than I've ever seen it. And then it flowed back, and filled it. I'll bet it raised that pond level 2 feet. So worked exactly like it's supposed to. Everything up there's growing. There's strawberries coming out, cilantro's coming out, everything, oregano, all the trees are growing, the daffodils, the whole thing's. It warms up just a little bit more, man, and it'll just explode.
We getting fruit this year?
We might get fruit. So we came on real warm, had a beautiful flowers, and then fucking 24 degrees. So I am...
Optimistic?
No, I'm not optimistic that we're going to get peaches, but I think we'll probably see some apples, cherries, some other stuff. The figs are going to do great. We have a lot more figs.
The figs do wonderful.
Yeah, if I would just... And it's just like, if I would take some stuff and put it in the row house, we'd be ahead by 2 months. But I put things in the row house, and then I'm like, I can wait a day. And then they just get cooked, right? It's just like gardening is not my job. I need like a museum curator, a note taker, a gardener all in one.
I don't think so.
Groundskeeper.
I think you have so much of that stuff that those are all individual jobs.
Yeah, but then it becomes my full-time job to manage those people.
Well, I mean, that's life. In the big games.
How do you do it?
I do it all by myself.
Right.
I chainsaw my own stuff. I do it all by myself.
We did chainsaw some stuff. There's a big tree out there we chopped up.
Oh, that's good.
And I chopped up 30%.
How long did it take to get the chainsaw started?
I bought a new one.
Oh, shit. I bought a new one. I love it.
The Milwaukee.
I love it.
Did 30% of the work.
Yeah.
Then I had a tree branch take out part of the fence, which we fixed yesterday, and I chopped that all up. And then the big pine tree that fell down in the pond, I chopped that up. So all with the Milwaukee, all the battery. But I did buy a big steel chainsaw. I went to get a little steel chainsaw and came back with a big steel. I think it's bigger than the Husqvarna we have.
Of course, because I mean, that's the same way when I'm doing the trees at John's. I'll bet 75% of the work is done with the battery operated chainsaw.
You still DeWalt?
The DeWalt, yeah.
And then I saw they actually have them now at Home Depot for the longest time. Like when I saw yours, I went actively many times to buy a DeWalt and they were nowhere.
Yeah. I think it was because they were having a contract dispute with DeWalt or something, because they went heavy on the green force or green work, and I don't think that kicked off, because the problem with tools is people are pretty tool snobby.
Yeah,
like they're pretty tool snobby about the tools they want to buy. Like, again, there may be better stuff, but I'm like, I gotta have the DeWalt.
I feel like it's the Ford Chevy conversation.
Yeah, it is.
And at this point, because we do have it quite a bit on the live feed.
I think it is.
But I really think it doesn't matter what you buy right now. It's better than what you had 5 years ago even. Yeah. And you're still running 5-year-old shit. Yeah. Well, I go with the batteries. I bought the
Greenworks chainsaw. That 56 volt, the big one, and it's a piece of shit.
Really?
Yeah, the batteries batteries do not last anywhere near as long as
all my Cobalt shits. Fuck, all the batteries are taking a shit.
Yeah.
I've got 10 batteries probably, and I put them on and they start charging, and then they're just blinking. Yeah. And then I have one that's got a full charge, and I'll put it in the blower and it'll power up, and then it's just dead battery. It makes so do you buy?
That's the hard part.
It costs as much to buy the battery as it does a whole fucking new tool.
That's why when I with the DeWalt stuff, I never when I was buying the DeWalt stuff, I have too much of it now.
What are you buying now?
I would still buy DeWalt just because for a couple reasons. How long? I mean, that DeWalt chainsaw, I bought the 40 volt when it first came out.
How long have you lived in Tennessee?
I don't know. I think it's
because
8 or 9 years.
That's when we were over there, when you were out there with that 40 volt chainsaw.
Yeah.
And you still have it running?
I still have it running. It's still the chainsaw I use. I mean, that when I say the DeWalt, and it was the 40 volt system. So the kind of the bigger fat batteries.
Yeah. And
those batteries, they still work like they were brand new. I haven't had any problems with that. And I just recently, because of Sperling, I just recently got some 20 volt stuff. Which
is all the handheld.
Yeah, because he bought 20 volt. He even bought
all of it's 20 now.
He bought the 20 volt, or what do they call it? The flex volt chainsaw, and it works good too. And those 20 volt. I mean, I can't fault the DeWalt batteries.
They're lighter.
Now the DeWalt batteries for the 18 volt suck, but the DeWalt for the 20 and the 40 volt have just been phenomenal.
The 18 volt is C batteries inside the battery.
Yeah, it's the rechargeable C.
Whereas the 20 volt has, I think it's like LiPo or some shit, and I could be completely wrong. I probably am. I got some Milwaukee stuff, red black stuff, and I used it for a while, and I still use it. I used it to hang your sign. Someday handguns will be good. Someday all handguns will be good. Until then, this is okay.
Yeah.
And I used the Milwaukee for that. When you take the Milwaukee and the DeWalt side by side, the Milwaukee looks like it's 20 years older. It's just there's the fit and finish. Like the DeWalt looks so much more futuristic. It feels better. It's got more rubber and finger grooves, and it's like a Gen 5 Glock, you know. It's got all this stuff. But I like that red black.
Yeah,
Makita's supposed to be really, the heart shit coming out of Walmart's fucking supposed to be really good.
Well, I mean,
it is Stormtrooper looking, so that's cool.
The truth of the matter is DeWalt, Milwaukee.
Yeah. Which one do you have more batteries for?
It's which one you have more batteries for, but They're probably all made in the same
In
Chinese
fact,
factory.
I have heard that the heart is made in the same factory.
They're all probably made. It's just which crew is in there. You know, they turn the lights out for the day crew, and the DeWalt guys go home, and then the Hart guys come in at night.
It's like the fake polo shirts had the extra golf club on it.
Extra golf club on it. Yeah. So you never know. It's snobby. I like the DeWalt stuff. I bought a Makita. I've been looking for a long time a small tire inflation system. And Makita has this one that's this big. It's not big enough where you would think it works. It takes their 18-volt battery. And I use that damn thing almost every week. And
what are you pumping up with it?
RV, the biggest one is the damn RV tires, and those got to go up to 85 PSI. So I'm doing the RV all the time.
Why is it leaking?
It's got the stupid because of the way the design on it. It has.
This is on the Mercedes.
Yeah, it has extended valve stems, and those extended valve stems, like if you.
This is the dually.
That's why. If you move, but even the front has an extended valve stem that comes out of the hubcap. So if you're unscrewing it or anything and that thing moves at all, what it does is it basically unscrews itself and it starts leaking air. So that thing's always leaking air.
You should tell Pierre that.
Why?
Because he's a Mercedes tech for a long time and he worked on those Sprinter vans. I bet there's some little trick.
Pierre.
I'll bet there's something.
They haven't rolled his ass up, HVT number 1.
I think he's like number 2 in the company right now.
In
Porsche.
At Porsche? Yeah. What kind of deals you get me there, Pierre? I'm looking for a
Cayenne. Gina wants a Cayenne.
I want a G-Wagon. I don't want a Porsche.
That's Mercedes.
I know.
You don't want a G-Wagon.
I want a G-Wagon.
Actually, you might. Stepping from your truck to the G-Wagon, miserable. Stepping from the Unimog to the G-Wagon, luxury.
Yeah. But I don't want the luxury G-Wagon. I want the former Bundeswehr G-Wagon.
Like Pink Panther kind of shit.
Yeah, I want a real one. I don't want one of them.
I think that's a Land Cruiser.
Soccer mom G-Wagons.
So you don't want any interior. You want it loud.
Yeah, I want it. I want all loud, no interior.
They make a bigger one, like the 4x. They make a couple versions of it.
They make in the G-Wagon. They make I don't think it's called the G-Wagon anymore. They make a 6-wheel version of that thing.
Yeah, they do.
It's like $250,000 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So what's next?
As far as
anything. Okay, so if we go to war with China,
we're going to war with China.
And if we lose,
do
they come to the United States?
No.
Why?
Because even a loss, I mean, it would have to be
hit Washington D.C. kind of loss.
They're not going to come to China or they're not going to come to the United States as in the sense of like
occupation.
Yeah, like America did at the end of World War II. They're going to enforce some rules and regulations, and the government, government,
like you have to disarm all your population.
Probably things like that. Like, hey, you're going to join the United World Pact Federation of the China governing body, and no guns, no. You're going to have to start doing social credit and things like that.
Go over.
I mean,
pockets of resistance.
Large pockets. Because here's the problem is the only places where you get into this quagmire of the only places where it's enforceable is in major metropolitan areas. You come out here who's going to come out here to Camden and enforce? I mean, could it be done? It probably could be done, but the fighting, just the amount of patriots would be a serious problem for the Chinese.
Have you seen a TV show called Man in the High Castle?
I have.
That's what I think. Like when they talk about what was it, Colorado was like the Wild West.
Yeah,
they were just
like
smoking motherfuckers in those old Western
But even
towns.
Sorry, even that. It's under this premise that people don't understand how big the United States is, and how much free space we actually have. It would be very hard.
How big is China compared to the United States?
China's huge. But again,
most of it, like only, I saw a map the other day that showed like Central America and Mexico and shit, and only like 20% of it has actual population. The rest of it's just like wild.
Yeah, China's huge, but again, China governs through mass migration into cities. So
like our
if you
Democrats.
If you go into the wilds of China, well, again, if you go into the wilds of China, you can still eat a bat. You can still do some crazy shit in China. Those people that are out in the wilds of China are not being judged with social credit.
Normal China. Yeah, because they don't have electricity.
They don't. Yeah, they don't. They're not. Now, if you live in fucking Beijing, of course you have to have a social credit in order to survive in Beijing, and that's the same way it would ultimately work here. That if you live in Los Angeles, you're going to need a social credit. If you live in fucking New York City, you're going to need a social credit. You live in Alabama, I feel like they would pretend that Alabama just didn't exist. Like they would pretend that places of
Arkansas, Alabama,
places, here in Tennessee, if you lived in Nashville, you'll need a social credit. And then as you're driving down the I-40 that's going to be completely covered, it'll be a tunnel because you want to go from Nashville to Memphis. It'll be completely covered because the wilderness in between Nashville and Jackson or Nashville and wherever will attack those infrastructure roads in order to get their Nikes and whatever.
The wilderness.
The wilderness.
The indigenous.
The indigenous people of the wilderness.
Did you see Did you see Portland? What's going on? Every Walmart in Portland's closing.
Oh, they're closing, yeah.
Every Nike has pulled out altogether.
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel's closing all their stores. And I don't know how many Cracker Barrels there are, but I mean, I would assume there's a lot of Walmarts. They're like, fuck you guys. We told you, like, we're not doing this lawlessness shit. You enforce it and fucking keep the peace, and they're out. Audi 5000.
I think it's on purpose. Not in the way that we think.
Okay.
I think that just from pre-pandemic. Okay, pre-pandemic or during the pandemic and definitely pre talking about going to war with China. I believe the whole purpose of what they were doing in Seattle was to drive out corporations.
Okay.
Which would drive out most of the population, meaning the tax-paying population. So if I drive the tax-paying population out because it's lawless,
kind of like smart cities.
Yeah, I drive them out of Seattle. Property values are going to tank, and the Chinese are going to come in and buy all that up.
So you think it's orchestrated by the Chinese?
I think that was the plan.
Because so which politicians did they own?
I think it was definitely planned because the Chinese were already attempting to buy up a lot of Seattle anyways. So if you turn Seattle into a hellscape.
Why Seattle?
Because of the
ports.
Yeah,
okay.
Because of the ports. If you turn Seattle into a hellscape, you force out all the regular people, you force all the property values down, then China then a China company can come in and save the day by opening a fucking, I don't know, Did China have a car? Did China has a car of their own? Probably not. By opening some sort of, I don't know.
Sounds like balkanization to me.
China Starbucks, and then everybody will be like, "Oh my God, thanks! The Chinese came in and saved Seattle," even though that they were the ones.
Starbucks.
Even though they were the ones that did it in the first place. Because people are dumb. People are just dumb.
I hope it burns down.
Well, it will burn down.
I'm good with it.
No, it will. It will burn down.
It actually brought joy to my day when I heard that those corporations were pulling. I'm like, and I don't know why. Fuck all of them. But have you heard that? So Starbucks, holy shit. Walmart is taking a lot of its stores, and the plan I think is all of the stores. They're dividing their stores into 2 stores. They're dividing the store in half, the square footage, and they're setting the stores up identical on both sides. but you have access to one side. As a shopper, you go to one side, and the other side is set up for people who online order, and their shoppers inside there pull your orders.
Makes sense.
And then ship, because Walmart's plan, and I had heard halfway through 23, their plan was to have 60% less patrons actually attend the store. They're setting up these big fulfillment centers like Amazon's in all the major cities. They're putting up these major buildings like Amazon. And when you order, they pick and pull, and then a driver just brings your shit to you. You don't go to Walmart anymore.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The only problem with that.
I can give you 20 problems.
I mean, I would say the big problem with that is they're going to lose a lot of revenue.
Yes, they are losing revenue. They're laying off a lot of employees right now over loss of revenue. I saw a list of people, and I was surprised some of them that were on the list, some of the big corporations that are laying people off, like today.
Well, they don't. I mean, and the reason why I say loss of revenue is if John Willis is getting all his groceries via the internet, then what ends up happening is we become very specific about the things that we're buying.
Right, because you don't see it.
Because we're becoming very specific about the things we buy, we're going to actually spend less money on the items in the store versus if I actually go into the store and I'm walking down the aisle and I'm like, oh, look,
Impulse
extension
buy.
cords.
Yeah.
We're going to buy all the extension cords or whatever it is that's in there that you're stopping the impulse buy. I mean,
I think it's more insidious. I always go to it's way more insidious than we think it is. And I think it's about being able to control human beings. It's the social credit score coming in. They've said it's on the Fed's website right now. In July, they're releasing central bank digital currency.
Mm-hmm.
There are already plans in Europe. It's already in place or actually in the wild, and it's going to become illegal to spend cash. You're only going to be able to spend cash for up to $600. They're going to lower it to $300 or $400, and it's actually a crime it's the gray market. It's a crime to use cash over $1,000 right now, punishable by jail and prison. Just like this whole TikTok bill that they've come out with. It's a crime if you get caught using a VPN. If you get caught using a VPN, upwards $1 million fine, upwards 20 years in jail for these crimes that are on this list for these things that they are trying to take control of. Think normal things that you and I have access to currently. It will be punishable by 20 years in prison, $1 million fine. So did you see that there's a deep fake? And I don't know that both sides were not a deep fake, but whoever is in charge of their Minister of Finance or whoever in the UK, I think it was a female if I remember right. She's online with who she believes is Zelensky. And there's somebody doing the fucking AI shit, right? And he's like, so how is the central bank digital currency plan going for rollout? She's like, it's just on schedule. It's out. And he's like, how are we enforcing this? And she's like, and everything I just told you, right? It's illegal to spend over $1,000. If they get caught, they actually get jail time. We're going to lower that threshold to $300 to $400, and then we're going to do away, and all you will have is digital bank currency. There won't be any other kind of currency, physical currency. And he said at the end, he says, I think that the future currency of Europe is going to be firewood. And that's when she kind of realized, like, oh shit, what the fuck did he just say? I've been duped. And that was the end of the video. Now the whole thing could have been bullshit, but it's out there being pushed.
I'm sure it's being pushed. I'm sure
that video, but I mean the video of her, that actual video being put forth.
No, I'm sure it's being pushed.
But I mean, and then back to like the Walmart, right? I went around that to say because Walmart will enforce the will of the government or whatever. It's not in our best interest, right? You saw them stop taking cash. They wouldn't take no more change. Nobody uses change anymore, but they wouldn't take any cash. So, and now all these registers, they've got fucking cameras. And we know people that work there. He's like, well, those are just the cameras you see.
See, right, yeah.
They know everything that's coming through there. They know everything you bought. So what happens when the government's like, hey, you're not allowed to buy this sign right here. You can't have that, right? So it'll just shut your shit down. Meaning ammunition or anything of the such.
I feel like, to what end?
Batteries. You're not allowed to have batteries anymore.
I always look at to what end. The reality of Walmart, when you think about Walmart or Google or any of them, the structure is solely based off of capitalism, meaning they want to be rich, right? To what end? Is Walmart, how much money is Walmart willing to lose, or how much the Waltons, how much of the, because it is a private corporation, how much money are they willing to lose to bend a knee to, I mean, because here's the real thing that people aren't paying attention to. The crux of the problem is when you think about the U.S. government, when you think of the U.S. government, 4 years, you really only have to wait 4 years for the whole, not the structure, but for people to change their minds about things that we believe are relative, right? Whether that's Donald Trump reducing all the rich people's taxes, or Joe Biden putting people with mental illnesses in his cabinet. We only have to wait 4 years. Even if Buttigieg, if he gets elected president in 4 years, he's not going to parrot the things that Joe Biden. He's going to have his own fucking weird agenda with his own weird, stupid shit that he's going to want to do. And that's the problem with insidious. That's the problem with insidious governments. Like when you think the government is attempting to do these things, the problem with insidiousness of it is they just don't have the structure. Like, for example,
the structure is the problem. I think the upper echelon has so much money that the interest of making money is no longer.
When you think about like China, and we think about social credit and all that, the reason why that works in China is because there's really only one dude in charge. There's only one dude, and he's elected for life.
Well, he passed that himself.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
So when does somebody here pass that?
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody just pulls power and like, hey, I'm the boss.
One time, this guy's elected for life, and the difference is he kills his opponents. He doesn't just threaten to put them in jail.
Correct.
So you can kind of get away with it a lot.
Why has that not happened here?
Because we got a lot of guns. Because we have a lot of guns.
Yeah, all that wonderful stuff in the First Amendment.
We got a lot of guns. You
don't get to keep any of that without the Second,
no,
which is why they
have a lot of guns.
Which is always the push, right? We got to ban these things.
Mean, the reality is, if Joe Biden, if the administration tomorrow said, due to World War III with China and Russia, I'm going to be president for life, our government would be over, because we would have a revolution here in the United States. There's always a tipping point with everything, and they really have to get rid of the guns. I mean, the reality is, you just had a mass shooting in Nashville, and Joe Biden was going to sign an executive order on guns, and he crumpled it up and threw it away and said, Congress, you need to handle this. Congress isn't going to do shit, because they never do shit. Doesn't matter if it's Democrats or if it's Republicans. When Obama controlled the entire House and Senate and could have passed anything he wanted, he didn't touch any of that stuff, because it's a tipping point. We're at this tipping point where guns could technically be a serious problem for a federal government.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Australia, completely fucking disarmed, and Australia's back in lockdown and all kinds of crazy shit. There's a student who's been here many, many times. He was here yesterday, and I talked to him for probably about an hour. And he had just come back from Namibia, right? They got cobras and shit running around there. It's fucking Africa. And he said, I was talking to him, I'm like, did you ever feel in danger when you were in Africa? There's a lot of places. He said, I never felt in danger when I was in Africa. And then we talked about, because he was over there for 6 months doing overland riding. Like, he bought this fucking motorcycle, flew over there. He's like, I don't know where I want to go. I think I want to go back to Namibia. And he was talking about having lived in Australia for a couple of years. And he's like, I was in Australia. It's completely locked down. It's absolutely fucking insane recently. And he's like, I feel like I have more freedom in fucking Africa than I have here.
Probably true.
Yeah. And he just loved, like, he had me sold. Like, I'm thinking we should all move to Namibia. Like, and the guy fucking just be a cobra charmer or something.
It's probably true. There's a
we
level.
have this perception of, this third world shithole. He's like, but I'm surrounded by fucking all the black people there love us, like they're, because we're like this. There's not a lot of us, you
Right.
know. And he's like, everybody around there. He's like, most of the fucking white folks I was around don't even speak English. They speak Afrikaans, so I
Yeah.
can only understand every other word. And he said it's like the culture there with the women, the Afrikaans women. It's like 1960, 1940, right? It's like wholesome. Woman does this, man does this, fucking this is how things are. And it's not all the corruption and debauchery, right? What I took is like watching a Leave It to Beaver movie.
They are the issue with Africa is versus the United States. They have the same. I mean, I don't want to say the same. They have draconian laws, and they have overreach, and they have all the same shit we have here in the United States. The difference is most people in Africa are still in survival mode, meaning day to day it's about surviving, feeding the family, taking care of the family. That's the most important thing. We in the United States have become so wealthy that we have a whole class of individuals who just sit around and worry about things that have nothing to do with them.
Yes, we are so comfortable.
Yeah, we're so comfortable.
Nothing's going to kill us. We have no strife, so we just create things to be fucking.
That's correct.
And that's because it's attention.
Yeah,
You get the likes, you get the clicks, so you develop this fucking.
If we took 2 million lions.
I like it.
Yeah, took 2 million lions and sporadically airdropped them all over the United States.
With parachutes.
With
Okay.
parachutes. Yeah, parachutes.
Are they in cages, or are we just like dropping them?
We're just dropping them with the release harness when they hit the ground.
I like it.
Yeah, 2 million lions and just released them around the United States. You wouldn't hear shit about wokeness. You wouldn't hear shit about LGBT community. You wouldn't hear shit about racial strife. All you would hear is, holy fuck, Tim was dragged into the woods by a goddamn lion. What are we doing about the fucking lions? That's the difference.
Have you noticed every time there's some civil collapse or there's some massive riots, there's always lions and bears fucking running around? They're like they had some riot in Oakland and fucking lions were let go. They had some riots in Russia and there's fucking bears let out of the zoo. I have a plan for this.
Crazy that you say that. I have actually in my younger days, I don't know what made me think about it, but it was like this. I was thinking about like the San Diego Zoo, and what if the apocalypse happened? You know, like a zombie apocalypse or something.
Yes.
And I actually had a plan, an idea where I was going to go to the wild animal park and just start opening cages. So that the fucking giraffes could go
free them, or to save them, or to eat them, or
no, to just let them roam, so the giraffes could get out. Because that was one of the big, not problems, but a lot of the animals, a lot. And this is a crazy, strange side note, but a lot of the animals in the zoos that they had in Iraq starved to death because we didn't know what to fucking do with them.
Right.
And so my thought was, okay. How long does a tiger last? How long does a tiger last in a cage in the San Diego Zoo? If I go down there at 30 days, can I let him go? Can I open that cage and he go, unfortunately, he's going to eat a soft motherfucker. So a zebra or something's going to get taken down. But how long do those animals have before just letting them go?
I feel like if you went into the wild animal park and opened all the doors and cages, that when you came back years later, there would be nothing, right? Because the lions and tigers are going to eat those things, and then they're going to eat each other and starve to death. And I mean, short of like a mourning dove that lands in there or whatever.
Well, I'm saying
it might last a year or two.
I'm just saying let everything just go
free out in the wild,
free. So you could be, you'd be down at Seaport Village, on the. On the merry-go-round, and a giraffe would walk by, or
because
the fucking lion.
Like when you look at your population of predators in the San Diego area, right? What are your real predators? Your apex predator might be a mountain lion, and then your predators are coyotes.
Coyotes, yeah.
The population of those animals is only so great because there's fucking poodles for them to eat everywhere.
Right.
Like if as soon as your poodles go away, they're eating fucking rabbits and rats and shit. And that population's going to dwindle.
The question is, what are gazelles or what do lions eat in the wild?
Yeah, everything.
Everything. Does if you let all the
deer. I guess
if you let all the gazelles out and the lions, do the gazelles make a comeback? Do they ever create a population where the lions could actually survive in San Diego? You know what I'm saying? It's
maybe
because we had in Santee we had bear.
A bear.
No, we had. I mean, before humans
in
came
the
and
olden
fucked
days,
in the
sure,
old days, there
absolutely.
was bear.
Yeah, we had them here.
There was bear down, so there was definitely enough for a bear to eat. But the question is, even with deer, I wonder if a fucking lion could survive. Like if we were all gone, if we're still here, then a lion can snack it up.
Yeah.
I mean, how long? I mean, imagine like 25 lions going through a homeless encampment. Just tents flying everywhere and shit. Oh, it'd be crazy.
I mean, you could trap a mountain lion and just let it go over there at Charlotte Pike.
I don't. The thing about mountain lions is
I think most of them are tagged at this point.
But even tagged, mountain lions have to be really, really fucking hungry to look at a person as food. Like they got to be really hungry.
I feel like that's what Fish and Game wants you to believe.
No, they got to be really hungry. Mountain lions are. I've bumped into a couple mountain lions, and they usually don't want to fuck with you.
We've seen a couple of them. I saw delivering paper routes. I saw one in Rancho Bernardo. And then
but that mountain lion was like, those cats were so good.
Yeah, and then we ran into a mountain lion back by Mount Fortuna years ago. Just came up, coming up a trail, and there it was, right? Mm-hmm. We saw bobcats and stuff, but there are mountain lions on game cameras 30 minutes from here now. Like TVA just came out and said we have DNA from at least 6 individual mountain lions right now in West Tennessee in this area here.
We had a couple weeks ago, my neighbor called. He's got a big cattle ranch. Are they called ranches in Tennessee? I don't know.
Doesn't matter if you're growing meat; it's ranch.
He's got a ton of cows over there, and he called and was like, "I think there's a big cat in the area."
Yeah,
because all my cows have moved into the woods and they won't even come out with food. And I'm like, why would they go into the woods? But he's like, they're all together and they won't come out. So I was like, let me get the thermals out. I'm gonna set it up. And then I was like, it's kind of cold out there. I'm not gonna fuck around.
So you didn't go?
No, I didn't go.
I think it's highly possible, cat. And that's the thing with these bigger dogs. Like they'll fucking get in with a cat. Cat be like, oh, there's some easier shit down the road.
Usually, like even out here with your dog, like a cat. If a cat was to come out of the swamp over here, he'd just smell the dog's piss and not even want to fuck with it.
Yeah. Even the deer could hop right over that. Yeah. That dog will eat a fucking deer in a heartbeat. Yeah, he does. They do a good job. And those are the dogs they're using out west for higher predator loads like that. The big dogs.
If we put some danger in people's lives,
yes,
they won't be talking about any of this shit anymore.
That's what I say all the time. I go, you're tired? You want some caffeine or you want some fear?
Yeah, we put danger in people's lives. I can wake you right.
Oh, your finger hurts? Slam your other fucking finger in the door.
That's really what all this fucking woke shit is. It's people in their basements without any real danger in their life. It's
also people without a fucking job. If you had a job, you might be busy.
I was just thinking the other day about growing up in the 80s and 90s, and I was telling somebody about growing up in the 80s and 90s, and they were amazed that like driving the car, talking on the phone, eating a cheeseburger, doing all this shit while you're driving the car, and like I don't understand how you do that. I'm like,
I've seen people driving down the road reading books.
I'm like, I have completely changed my clothes while driving. And they're like, oh my God, I don't know what you're talking about. That is fucking insane. I go, oh, I get it. You're young. you don't understand. See, in the 80s, everything was dangerous. And because it was dangerous, you learned how to do things without killing yourself.
I remember riding around in cars that didn't have a seatbelt across here.
I had a fucking stick shift.
Dude, they had cars where you would put your baby in the dash, in the front window. Like they had, there was a car that came with a coffee pot.
And we were just talking about how, I'm sure it was the same for you. You probably don't remember, but as a young lad going trick or treating, right? Mm-hmm. You go trick or treating, and you'd want the.
It was a much bigger thing then.
You'd want the Transformer costume. The Transformer costume not only was it highly flammable, and it literally said on there, "This will burst into flames," but it was also made out of the same material that most trash bags are made out of today, right? So you're running around sweating your fucking ass off with this napalm jacket on.
Like when you had to sweat to cut weight limit.
While your mom is standing above you smoking a cigarette. I mean, life was just more dangerous. It was just, there was an element of danger.
The whole fucking car would catch on fire if you dropped the cigarette.
There's a whole element. I remember. So my mom used to smoke like everybody smoked back then.
None of my family smoked.
She used to smoke 2 packs a day or something like that. And we would be in her Volkswagen. Now, it was a split window 53. She smoked so much that I would sit in the back because I couldn't take it in the front.
She had a 1953 Volkswagen?
1953 Volkswagen split window.
I don't know that I've even heard of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're pretty rare. It was, they were pretty rare, but they were also a piece of shit. They were fucking just like you think a military vehicle. They were super noisy. They had they're driving them. It was terrible. But, and I would sit in the back, and I would be in the back like, I can't breathe. She'd be like, then stop sniffing and roll up the window and keep smoking. Like that's how the old days were. There was a bit of danger in everything we did.
Do you remember when monkey bars used to be like 2 stories? The monkey bars were bigger than the buildings.
The reality is, if you fell off, because I know at least 3 times I had done that, where you're swinging from bar to bar, and then your legs kick up and you go flat on your back and just knocks all the fucking wind out of you. You can't breathe for like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, shit
you
was
go
just
look
more.
At playgrounds now, and they don't even have swing sets. We had schools. I went to schools where the swing sets were on just fucking. They wouldn't there was swing sets on concrete. It was dirt over the concrete.
Concrete, yeah.
Yeah, there was no like rubber mulch or any of that shit.
Bullshit.
You used to swing and see how far you could jump off the swing set.
Yeah, it should be dangerous. If there's not a possibility of breaking your arm, it's not really good playground equipment. It's just not good playground equipment.
Safety and shit.
It's not really good playground equipment.
So you have on a tartar jacket. What happened there? How'd you get that?
Oh, it was just in the truck.
What? But where'd it come from?
You?
Oh, remember? I was gonna say you bought so much tartar shit they sent you some clothing.
I don't. You don't know. You probably don't remember that some guy came here.
Well,
who
I was
a
about
tartar
to
rep.
tell you, he's not the tartar rep. He owns tartar. Him and
okay.
his sister own tartar. For you guys that don't know, tartar makes the best fences and gates for your farm needs. The fit and finish is always better on tartar. That's why all my gates look so good, because they're tartar gates. All the dog kennels are tartar. The owner of tartar was actually here maybe 6 months ago, and he has a gray Sprinter van, a big dually van. He's got a badass adventure band.
I love the Sprinter. The Sprinter portion, the Sprinter portion of that van. I mean,
if you're listening, which he probably is, it might be a Dodge. I think it's a Sprinter though.
The Sprinter portion of that vehicle, love it. No problems with it. Love
it. Winnebago, on the other hand,
but I can't think of the name of it's Coleman. The Coleman's
kind of like lower line stuff typically.
Yeah, but for the money I paid for that damn thing, everything should have worked, and nothing has worked since I've got it.
We got a dude that lives around here. His is a Sprinter, and he built all his. But I'll bet you he could flesh out some of your issues. I
have 2 serious issues that the Coleman mechanics can't figure out. Fucking bullshit. Anyways, but I love the Mercedes portion of it. Outside of there's only one Mercedes problem I have, and it's kind of one of those problems that I think you have with any of the systems, with any of these systems. It has that alert system, right? So that like if you're in a car crash or something,
okay,
it'll be like
OnStar kind of shit.
This is Mercedes-Benz. Are you all right? And it's got a malfunction in it, so that fucking thing comes on all the time. And so you see this red light up here, and you're like, what's wrong with my car? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that the stupid software in there is all jacked
Just
up.
put a piece of rigger's tape over it.
Well, because I feel like when it comes on, I'm like, okay, I got to pull over and look and see. But the Mercedes...
Are my brakes on fire for the last 30 minutes?
But the Mercedes portion of that truck is awesome. I love it.
There's another train around it every day. There's another big one yesterday.
Yep. In Ohio again.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. It's coming to a town near you.
Well, they're trying to relocate the Amish.
Maybe. I mean, the Amish are a big problem.
Yes, rogue Amish.
Rogue Amish. I ran into rogue Amish. Where was I going? I was going to...
Was he in a carriage?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, man.
Did you stop and talk to him?
No, I did, because he was hauling... He was hauling ass. Like, I was on the... What is this out here? 70? I was on the 70. I was going to Humboldt. I was going to the gun store. And there's this Amish carriage right in front of me slowing down traffic. And I'm like, shit, you know what? I need to get a video of this. I need to get a video of this guy doing his thing. And he turned off to a side road, and I'm like, that's so cool and quaint. Maybe I should get a carriage. And then I looked at his horse, and I'm like, poor horse. Like that horse was struggling. Like he was hauling, even though we were only going 25 miles an hour, the horse was hauling ass, pulling this carriage. And I'm like,
hard on him on the asphalt too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I was thinking, damn.
So right out,
poor horse.
When we used to go to the flea market, right there where that aluminum foil plant is.
Yes.
When you turn there, that goes back to Rosser, and that's a big Amish community back in there. So right on the other side, well, a little ways up into Kentucky, not far, a few minutes up into Kentucky, next weekend is a giant flea market auction, and it's mostly Amish, and it's a farm equipment auction. I'm going to run up there. If you're interested in going, I'll give you the information.
Yeah, I'd love to go.
Yeah, they got all kinds of animals and shit.
I'd love to go. They don't like their animals. That's the only...
They don't like their animals. Well, it's not all Amish. I mean, there's vendors and other shit there. Yeah. But I want to see it. It looks big from the air. So.
Well, you flew over it?
In your jet? I had it pre-ran. We just sent a drone.
How much money does Heavy D make?
Heavy D? A fucking ton of money.
I mean,
a ton of money. He's got a lot of other shit going on.
I just saw that motherfucker just bought 2 more helicopters.
Not surprising. I mean, he's got a Black Hawk. Any other helicopter he buys is going to cost less than that.
Like 2 more helicopters. I'm like,
is he buying them?
Yeah, he bought them.
No, I understand that. But, I mean, just the viewership. And I'm sure there's Patreon and there's probably private get-togethers. And I'm sure if we sat around here in a circle, we could figure out how to make money doing this right here. And I feel like he just has fucking business people around him and probably handlers and managers that are their whole job is just to promote and fucking.
Well, yeah, I know he promotes Heavy.
Yeah, he's got. So I don't know about Heavy D, but the dude from the TV show The Muscle, he's partnered up with Rob. Like they're good friends. That dude bought a fucking mountain, and it's in Utah, I think. And they chopped the top of the mountain and put a fucking glass house up there, dude. Like they're doing well.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine.
I bought a damn toothbrush because Heavy D had that fucking toothbrush, and they painted this some kind of aircraft paint on this piece of metal. And the next day he took the toothbrush and he was able to get the paint off the metal and shit. I'm like, I need that toothbrush. So I bought it. It's upstairs. Amanda's got a pink one. I got a black one. And when you put it in the cradle, it's got a UV light. A fucking light comes on and sterilizes it. And I applied for an affiliate link, and we have it. And I've never fucking promoted that toothbrush ever.
You should promote it.
We should promote it.
You should promote it.
And have some nice. We won't.
I like the idea of the UV light. My electric toothbrush just sits in the cabinet.
So mine came
in darkness.
Mine came with a cup. This cool like green glass cup. My other one, and when you put the toothbrush in there, the cup is a charger. but it comes with a case that's a UV sterilizer, but I don't think I've ever used it. And then you can get a subscription where they just send you a new head every 90 days.
Well, I think this is what we need to do, John, because you say that you want to model after Heavy D. In Georgia, there's a
UH-60 airframe.
No, there is an LMTV dump truck.
Really?
Yeah, we go buy the LMTV dump truck.
How much is it?
$4,500.
$4,500?
$45,000.
Okay.
Fucking dump truck. Goddamn dump trucks are so expensive.
But then we don't have a tractor big enough to load it.
No, mine will load it.
At 2 miles an hour.
The Unimog will load it.
So we're going to have to rescue somebody. That's the thing. That's
his
his stick. Like, there has to be some turmoil somewhere.
Well, we can create the turmoil.
Do you think he's creating turmoil?
I don't think he is.
I think we just advertise for turmoil. Turmoil will show up.
Have you seen? You know how he bought that rib, right?
He's bought a few boats.
Yeah, well, he bought that when his ski boat, the boat he bought when his ski boat sank. Did you see that?
No, I saw where they went out and like helped that dude move the thing that was tied in Lake Mead. They were kicking him out of his houseboat that was grounded and shit.
Okay, so he bought that. He had a $100,000 ski boat that sank, and he
just randomly sank. Did it?
Well, that's he does a whole video about I did not sink my fucking boat.
I feel like Heavy D stuff is more wholesome than most things I watch. I should probably be watching more Heavy D shit.
But he bought that
Heavy Sparks, I think is his channel.
He bought that rib to bring the ski boat up. Okay, and so I'm like,
how do you use a boat to bring?
Winch? He winched it right up.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would think like lift bags. They
went down, put lift bags on it. I believe that's what they did. Is they put lift bags on it and used the winch on the boat, and then used that boat to pull it in.
Didn't they have a problem? The winch broke or the cable broke.
I don't remember.
I saw something they were doing.
But again, not looking at Heavy D. I'm just looking at. I think it was Lake Mead shit, and there's this old crusty dude with a cell phone camera, and he's like, "Holy shit, my houseboat is stuck on the ground."
That's the one.
Yeah, but he's like, "Holy shit, my houseboat is stuck on the ground," and he's like filming his houseboat, and he's like, "These guys have come and they're gonna rescue my houseboat and pull it in the water."
They break it in half.
No, he's filming it. He's filming it, and then just off of the side, I see it's Heavy D's rib and his guys out there putting the lines on the thing. And then he's like, I'm so thankful that these guys. So it was like a 30-second, it was literally like a 30-second video of these guys rescuing this guy's houseboat. But like a video we would make if somebody came towed our truck out, right? And then like a week later, Heavy D's got this, they've got this whole we're rescuing this houseboat, and it's like an hour-long video.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all about production value.
With 2 helicopters.
Yeah, 2 helicopters and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I just saw he bought two more helicopters. I'm like, man, the reality when you think about it is...
Dude, you have plenty of room to put a helicopter.
But, again, the amount of money that you have to dump, like just decide you're going to dump into a helicopter for maintenance.
But how much more money is he making because he has that helicopter?
I understand that it takes money to make money, but I mean, like for example, because of the 2 helicopters he bought are Dolphin. They're called Dolphin helicopters.
Yeah, he has an acrobatic helicopter.
He bought 2. Basically, they were 2 life flight helicopters in Ohio that he bought, and he's like, I really only need 1, but I'm going to buy 2 because that's part of the deal. They made him a real sweet deal, but again, it's like for instance, the Black Hawk. The Black Hawk spends more time on the ground in maintenance than it ever does in the air. I think it's...
Dude, you put $6 million in it to get it airworthy.
Yeah, I think it's 2 to 1 or maybe even 3 to 1. For every hour you're in there, you're 3 hours of maintenance.
F-18s and for every 1 hour of flight, it's 18 man hours of maintenance.
Yeah. So...
That's the only thing I remember from the Top Gun pilots coming from us going to Top Gun.
So I'm just like, man, it's like again, and he has boats. It's like a boat. A boat is just a fucking hole in the water that you throw money in. I just can't imagine the maintenance because again, Heavy D's not doing it.
No, he has guys.
He's got
all
guys.
that started.
He's got guys doing it.
That all started with a tractor. It
Yeah,
all turned into this.
I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy to think. God, fuck, he's got a Black Hawk helicopter.
All right. If you want to put in money into the GoFundMe for the LMTV, let me know. And if you're interested in that, just leave some comments in the comments. And let me know how much money you'd be willing, each of you, to put in there. And if it's an amount that adds up to make it viable, we'll put a GoFundMe together and we can get Jeff an LMTV.
And for special subscribers, we'll even let you scoop up some dirt in the Unimog and put it in the LMTV.
Well, yeah, you can. We'll let you fly out here and bring us lunch, and you can drive Jeff's Unimog around.
I don't know if you're going to be able to drive it.
It'll sit in place, and you can dig a hole with it.
Dig a hole in it. Yeah.
All right, guys, that was episode 20. Now we are on to go do some other stuff.
Yeah, man, I'm talking about Willis, one of the realest to try. My family.
Also. EMP Shield. If you use code SOE on EMP Shield, go to EMP Shield. If you're not familiar with what it is, just check it on YouTube. Use code SOE. That'll get you $50 off your order, and it will protect you from EMP. It will also, for your normal day life, it'll protect you from lightning strike, and they will insure your items up to $25,000. EMP Shield. Did I just do a lot? What's that called when I do that? What's it called? An ad read. I just did an ad read.
Yeah, man, I'm talking about Willis, one of the realest to try. My family.